These are things I wish somebody had told me before I had my baby. Things that would have made those first few months so much easier on my body, my hair, and my mental health. I'm a dermatologist. I study skin, hair, and the biology of recovery for a living, and I still felt blindsided by some of this. So today I am sharing 7 things I genuinely wish I had known as a doctor and as a mom. Whether you're pregnant, newly postpartum, or planning ahead, this one is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Mamina, a triple board certified dermatologist and someone who takes a root cause, whole body approach to health. I've been through IVF, I've navigated postpartum recovery, and I believe that what happens to your body in those first months deserves real clinical attention, not just rest and it'll pass. If this is your first time here, I make content at the intersection of dermatology and whole body health. Please subscribe so you don't miss it. Now let's get into it. Tip 1, postpartum hair loss. Let's start with the one that sends most new moms into a panic, and that is postpartum hair shedding. It typically begins about 3 to 5 months after your delivery, which is exactly when you're already exhausted, stretched thin, and the last thing you need is handfuls of hair coming out in the shower. I want you to understand what exactly is happening so that it doesn't terrify you. During pregnancy, elevated estrogen can keep your hair locked in the growth phase. You actually shed less than normal, which is why pregnancy hair often looks so full and amazing. But then after delivery, estrogen levels drop dramatically, and all that hair that was being held in the growth phase suddenly enters the shedding phase at the same time. That's called telogen effluvium, and it's completely normal. The good news, well, it resolves on its own, typically by month 9 to 12 postpartum. The not so good news is that if you have a personal or family history of hair thinning, postpartum shedding can unmask or accelerate that underlying tendency. And the same is true if you have an underlying thyroid condition. Thyroid dysfunction is a very common and very underdiagnosed driver of hair loss, and pregnancy can shift your thyroid function as well. And then there's, of course, vitamin deficiencies like low iron or low vitamin D or zinc, and this can amplify shedding beyond what's expected. So if your hair loss feels excessive or prolonged, it's definitely worth getting blood work done before assuming it's just postpartum telogen effluvium. And here's what I recommend starting as early as possible, ideally even before you deliver if you know you're prone to hair loss. I do think that daily or regular scalp massage is helpful, around 4 minutes a day. This can increase blood flow to the follicles and has clinical data supporting improved hair thickness with consistent practice. Red light therapy on the scalp, low-level laser and red light devices are FDA cleared for hair loss and have solid evidence behind them. I think they're worth investing in if hair is a concern. And then topical serums with peptides and growth supportive ingredients. I am a really big fan of the Obagi BioStim scalp serum for this. I would apply with a dropper directly onto the scalp. And then there's minoxidil. This is the gold standard FDA-approved topical treatment for hair loss, and it's worth mentioning for postpartum patients. I think the data on breastfeeding safety is kind of limited. There's inadequate human data to make a definitive call, but based on the minimal systemic absorption, significant risk to infant or adverse effects on milk production are not expected. That said, this is a conversation to have with your doctor, so I would just make sure that you make an informed decision for your specific situation. And supplements, which I will cover more in depth in a moment, because nutrition plays a direct role in hair recovery. So, tip 2, supplements. Don't stop and add them strategically. The single most common supplement mistake that I see postpartum is stopping the prenatal as soon as the baby arrives. Please don't do this, especially if you're breastfeeding. Your postnatal nutritional needs are actually higher in some ways than during pregnancy. You're recovering from a major physical event, potentially nursing and running on fragmented sleep. Your body is so depleted. I would continue your prenatal or switch to a postnatal vitamin. And if you're not already taking choline separately, I definitely think that's worth looking into. It plays an important role in infant brain development through breast milk, and it's one of those nutrients that often doesn't make it into a standard prenatal vitamin in meaningful amounts. It's not something to stress about, but something worth being aware of. And then beyond the basics, here's what I personally would pay attention to postpartum. Omega-3s, these are anti-inflammatory. They can support brain function and mood, and they're important for breast milk composition. Postpartum depression risk is higher in women with low omega-3 status, so this matters. And there's vitamin D. Of course, deficiency is extremely common postpartum and linked to fatigue, mood dysregulation, and immune function. So I would consider getting your levels checked and supplementing accordingly. Iron. If you had significant blood loss during your delivery, like I did, iron deficiency is very common and can affect your energy, your hair, your recovery. I think it's worth testing if you're feeling unusually fatigued. And there's magnesium. This supports sleep quality. It can reduce muscle tension and help with anxiety and overstimulation that can come with new motherhood. I think the glycinate form is well tolerated. And then there's collagen. Your connective tissue took a significant physical load during pregnancy and delivery. Supporting collagen synthesis postpartum can help with skin elasticity recovery, joint support, and tissue repair. I like to mix it into a smoothie in the morning. And as always, please talk to your doctor about what's right for your specific situation, but please don't just stop everything the moment the baby arrives. Tip 3, warm, nourishing food is medicine. This one is deeply personal to me. I'm not Korean, but I did spend a significant part of my childhood being surrounded by Korean moms. I also attended a boarding school in Korea when I was in middle school, and Korean food culture and its approach to nourishment stayed with me. And one of the first foods given to new mothers after delivery is, in Korean tradition, it's called miyeokguk. It's a seaweed soup. It's rich in iodine, folate, calcium, and antioxidants. It's warming, it's easy to digest, and it's deeply nourishing. And there's a reason this practice has been passed down for generations. You can, of course, make this from scratch, but I discovered a brand recently called Omma that makes a great version that you just add hot water to, and it's so easy to have regularly postpartum. The broader principle here is real. Your digestion is working hard, your body is healing, and cold, processed, difficult to digest foods are not serving your recovery. Warm, cooked whole foods are easier on your gut, more bioavailable in terms of nutrients, and genuinely comforting in a way that matters when you're running on empty. So yes, think things like soups and stews, cooked vegetables, warm grains. Prioritize protein. Your body needs amino acids for tissue repair, collagen synthesis, and milk production. And please make sure you're eating enough. This is not the time to restrict calories. Your body definitely needs fuel to heal. Tip 4, hydration. More than you think. If you're breastfeeding, your hydration needs are going to increase dramatically. Milk production requires a substantial amount of fluid on top of your baseline needs. Dehydration can affect milk supply, energy, your cognitive clarity, and your skin, of course. I would aim for at least 2 to 2.5 liters of water daily, more if you're in a warm climate or if you're moving your body a lot. Electrolytes are also definitely worth taking. Sodium, potassium, and magnesium can help you retain and use the fluids that you're taking in rather than just flushing them through. I like to add electrolyte powder to my water in the morning. I think it's a small habit that makes a real difference in how you feel, especially in those early weeks. Tip 5, breastfeeding, practical optimizations. A few things I wish I'd known that made a real difference. Babies tend to sleep longer at night when they feed more frequently and take more volume during the day. So getting them to cluster feed or take fuller feeds during daylight hours can actually help extend nighttime stretches more than you'd expect. So this is something that the book Moms on Call covers really well. It's not for everyone, but if you like structure and a predictable framework, I found it so helpful. For physical comfort, warm compresses before feeding can help with letdown and engorgement. I'm also a fan of lanolin cream and the Silverette cups for nipple soreness. They both work. Silverettes are a higher investment, but many moms swear by them, including myself. And please ask for a lactation consultant if you are struggling. This is one of the most underutilized resources for new moms. Asking for help is not a sign of failure. It's the smart thing to do. And most hospitals have one on staff, and many insurance plans cover visits. Tip number 6, your baby's sleep setup. Swaddling technique matters more than most people realize. A properly swaddled baby feels held and secure, startles less, and sleeps longer. I would look up how to properly swaddle before your due date. It takes practice to get it right, and you don't want to be learning it at 3 a.m. Another thing that has been a game changer for my baby's sleep is the snoo. It's a bassinet. It's a significant investment, but it's genuinely one of the most talked about tools amongst exhausted new parents for a reason. The responsive rocking can help settle babies back to sleep during light sleep phases without you having to get up every single time. And if you're able to borrow, rent, or access one, I definitely think it's worth it. And I think a quality sound machine matters. Consistent white noise creates a sleep environment that signals rest to your baby's nervous system and buffers household sounds. The Hatch is what I use. It doubles as a nightlight, and you can control it from your phone without getting out of bed. And for you, please sleep in whatever window you can. I know everyone says sleep when the baby sleeps, and it can feel impossible, but this is genuinely not the time to be productive during naps. Sleep is your most powerful recovery tool right now for your hormones, your hair, your skin, and your mental health. I would protect it fiercely. Tip number 7, build your community before you need it. This is one that surprised me most, and the one I feel most strongly about sharing. Nobody prepares you for the isolation of early motherhood. Even if you're surrounded by people, the specific loneliness of being the person responsible for a newborn, often in the middle of the night, often without anyone who fully understands, is so real. And it hits harder than you expect. I would set up your support system before you deliver. Organize a meal train with close friends and family before your due date, not after. People want to help, They just need to be asked and organized. If you don't have local people, join a local Facebook group, or there's the Peanut app community for new moms in your area before the baby comes. Having even one person who checks in regularly makes an enormous difference. And if you're feeling more than just tired, if you're experiencing persistent sadness, anxiety, rage, or disconnection, please talk to your doctor. Postpartum mood disorders are common. They are not a reflection of your character or your love for your child, and they are very treatable. You don't have to white knuckle through this. So those are the 7 things that I genuinely wish someone had told me as a doctor and as a mom. Some of them are clinical, some of them are just human, but all of them would have made those first few months easier, and I hope they do the same for you. Please save this video for yourself if you're expecting, or send it to a pregnant friend. It's the kind of thing that's hard to find when you actually need it, so having it saved means you'll have it when it counts. If you're in the thick of postpartum right now, I want you to hear this. You're doing an incredible job. The fact that you're here learning and preparing and taking care of yourself says everything. Please be patient with your body. It just did something extraordinary. If this helped you, a like goes a long way in helping this reach other moms who need it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I make content at the intersection of dermatology and whole body health, and I'd love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.